Now, how about them damn Celtics?
And we are back from another episode of How About Them Celtics. Sam and I are here recording on Wednesday, January 8th, because it's a 10 o'clock game and it's past midnight. So we're here after the Celtics 118-106 win over the Denver Nuggets. No Jokic, no Aaron Gordon for the Nuggets, no Derek White for the Celtics. So some starters were missing. I was talking about starters. You interrupted me. That's what you get. Dumbass. Celtics get the win in Denver to end a four-game
You're
road
talking
trip.
about missing players. You go through the list on both sides.
Okay,
leave
you
out a
know what?
guy.
You're right. Hold up. Celtics were out Jordan Walsh and Derek White. Nuggets were out Nikola Jokic, Spencer Jones, Aaron Gordon, Vlako Konchar, Daron Holmes. See how that's kind of useless?
Is Contra still on the ACL thing or the tear he had
came
last
back.
summer?
He's hurt again. Celtics win. Go ahead.
So this is a weird game because obviously with Jokic not in there and Gordon not in there, you don't really get the full experience of playing Denver, and beating them doesn't feel like as much of an achievement as it would have felt like when the schedule dropped and we were all like, oh, tough road trip out west. If you told me in August that they would beat Denver, it'd be like, all right, not bad, like pretty good. I think this was still like a good win. There are good things about this win. There are good things about this road trip. But it was also a very frustrating game to watch because the Celtics took control of this game and then gave it back and then went back and forth with the Nuggets for 2.5 quarters and then decided the game was over and ripped off a nice fourth quarter run, which is a very good thing. Like, listen, the Celtics have lost games, big games, over the past couple months by not showing up or not being able to put the ball in the basket or not get stops in the fourth quarter. Today was a very impressive display, ripping off a 15-0 run when it seems like you're in for another dogfight that you really shouldn't be in was good. The way they moved the ball was good. The way that they were able to win the game despite not having it going from three, very good. But yeah, overall, like, there are impressive things about this win, but it's tough to be like this was a great win because it just feels like they took care of business and did what they were supposed to do given the circumstances.
Yeah, it was a really weird game. They kind of played a different style of basketball to what they usually play, i.e., they took 35 threes, and this might be the second game all season that they've taken fewer than 40 threes, and the other one was the Nuggets game, which they lost because they didn't take enough threes, and they found other means of offense, and I'm sure we'll talk about Kristaps eventually, but Kristaps was awesome. He was 9 of 18, 1 of 3, 6 of 8 from the free throw line, 25, 11, and 3, 5 offensive rebounds. They ran through Kristaps. Like, this was, all right, let's get Kristaps the ball. He is going to be the focal point of our offense, and that was great, and he looked really good. But there were just some oddities of this game. Russell Westbrook played Caleb Martin and decided he was going to be a competent three-point shooter in this one. And I don't even think the Celtics left him open for every single one. They definitely started by leaving him open, then they started closing out, but he was just like, "No, I'm still going to make them." And so you got that. I also don't think the Celtics defense was as consistent as it needed to be. Obviously, they gave 106 points, and so they turned it up when they had to. But this was also a Nuggets team who was without the greatest offensive player in the last decade. So that's not me saying they should have given up fewer than 106 points. 106 points is still a good number to give up to any team, but that's also a product of them not being able to hit as many shots as they could have or should have or stuff like that. It just feels like their perimeter defense wasn't good enough. The Nuggets got downhill whenever they wanted. It felt like the Celtics was individual defense was sporadic, or they were off ball, not paying attention as much as they needed to. Drew Holiday was the problem with that a couple times that I noticed, although he played a pretty okay overall game. That's not saying he played poorly. And then their screen navigation was weird. Like, they went under on some screens that I was like, why are you going under there? And then Jamal Murray hit some threes and Michael Porter Jr. hit some threes. They went over on ones where they just let guys get downhill and no one rotated over. It just felt like some of their defensive, whatever it wasn't like an effort thing. It was just like they weren't communicating as well as they needed to. They weren't, as crisp as they needed to. The individual defense was a little bit off in places, which is very weird considering they played really, really well against the Thunder on defense. It just felt like, I don't know, they weren't locked in for all 48 minutes as needed to. And as I've said in the past, that's normal, but they weren't locked in more than is the allotted, every other possession, like every once in a while possession where it's like, ah, shit. Like, it felt like super inconsistent in this one.
So this was a game where I also think the surprise, hey, Jokic isn't playing, like, what was it, an hour before? Like, it was less than a half hour
Yeah.
before pregame. Like, we found out
Yeah.
pretty close to the start of pregame. So, like, that probably took some of the juice out of it for them, and I can understand, like, "Oh, we should just beat these guys," because that's kinda how I looked at this game. I was like, "Oh, yeah, they should just beat Denver now." Denver is the most polarizing team in terms of they have their star, they don't have him, what the productivity from the team is based on his presence is massive. So, when you take the engine out of the fucking car, you should be able to beat it in a race. The Celtics flirted with losing a race to a car with no engine today for a little while. They were getting killed by Jamal Murray for stretches, and the Nuggets had a really weird looking like box score. Like, you look at this, every guy that scored for them that is not named DeAndre Jordan had double digits. I didn't even see DeAndre's 1 point. But Peyton Watson, 14, Strother, 19, Jamal, 19, Russell Westbrook, 26 points, Michael Porter Jr., 15, and Christian Brown, 12. Here's what I'll say about the Westbrook stuff. I hate when guys make fake shots more than anybody. You know me. Like, I love to complain about that. I think we're at a point where it feels so deliberate that the Celtics are begging guys that aren't supposed to be good shooters to shoot the ball. And like you said, it didn't feel like it was necessarily a stubbornness thing tonight where they refused to shift. And to that, I would say good, because Denver didn't have anybody that should be a we need to send the dogs at them to try and stop them kind of guy. Like, it was not Tyrese Maxey on Christmas getting literally everything he wanted, and you had to help off of Caleb Martin type stuff. Like, no, this is a game that nobody should really have to overhelp. And I would like to see the Celtics commit to not overhelping more and more as the season goes on, because I think it has led to some fluky shooting nights for bad shooters. And I know they like to play the math game, but listen, if you leave these guys open, like, they're still NBA players. And a lot of them are confidence guys. Like, they have that unrational or irrational confidence. It's how they are at where they're at.
Yeah, I get it. I'm still in general pretty okay with that type of game plan. Like outside of the Caleb Martin game, it has just kind of worked in the aggregate. It might be frustrating to watch from an optical standpoint, but or from an optic standpoint, but it worked tonight. Westbrook shot 4 of 9 from three. I think that's the most he's made in the game all season, and they still won the game. What I have more of a problem with defensively is like it just feels like they're not as good on the perimeter as they need to be, right? Like they're letting guys get past them way too easily. Jayson Tatum seemed to pit too lax, especially in the early goings of this game. Guys just let Jamal Murray drive by them too easily, or let Julian Strother get into the paint or get downhill, and they were able to make plays from there. And that's how Westbrook got some of his threes. So I just think they need to turn up the intensity individually more than anything else, rather than a schematics thing. But
This
we'll,
was
we'll see
probably
if they
my
can
top
manage that.
side game of the season.
Huh?
Just sitting here going, just the
Oh,
top amount of size
oh,
I've had in the
yes,
game, just like going,
I
just
see. Yeah.
Denver is still keeping up somehow with a mostly healthy Celtics team. It's whatever. We can get into some of the silver lining stuff, I suppose. You mentioned Kristaps at the top.
Damn good.
Really great to see Kristaps. Like, I think Kristaps played really well on Sunday as well. He wasn't perfect. He was part of the cold spell in the second half. Like, it was very true, but I thought his hustle was there. The fire he brought to the team was very much needed, and he carried that over, parlayed that into a strong performance today where he had a double-double. Might have been his first double-double of the season. He also had 3 stocks. Really impressed with Kristaps in this. Still not really shooting the three that well. They're not asking him to take a whole lot of them. But I think the more and more he's getting out there, the more and more he plays, the more and more confident he's getting. And if you go and you look at his game by game on the season, if you, the listener, you want to go on Basketball Reference and you want to look at all of his game logs, I can guarantee you that as you scroll closer to the present, it is going to get better and better. And that's an encouraging sign, because I think when he came back, there was some growing pains. I think the team struggled to find their footing with him in the lineup. And I think as the season goes, it's going to be important, because in the playoffs, especially the way this team has looked at times this year, it feels like you can't get away with, hey, Kristaps is not going to play in the playoffs. You're not going to just make the finals again for free. There are better teams now, if nothing else. Like, you need him to be present. You need him to be sharp. So this is good.
Yeah, Kristaps was really good. He was good on both ends too. He was better on the glass than he usually is. Like for as tall as he is, he's not the best rebounder in the world, and that's probably because he ends up helping defensively on a bunch of shots, so he's not able to get the rebounds. But he made like a bunch of extra efforts to get extra possessions. They had 5 offensive boards, 6 defensive boards, 11 rebounds total. And they spammed Nerf hoop Kristaps. They said, they don't have anybody big on that side. Their big men are DeAndre Jordan, Darius Saric. Go wild, take a million post shots, and it was good. It worked for them. I don't
Some of the
know
most
how.
fire offense they have.
Yeah, I don't know how consistently it'll work or they'll go to it because I still don't think you can beat most teams that way if you just spam it that hard. But in this case, it played. It worked. Tatum was really good, except for his 3-point shot. He's 11 of 23, 1 of 9 from 3, but 6 from the free throw line, 29 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists. Stealing 2 blocks was one of the big reasons they were able to close this one out. When Tatum was in the paint, he didn't miss a single shot. It felt like when he got downhill, he was a monster. And then a couple middies there in the last 2 minutes really solidified this win. So I thought he was really good, and the 3-point shots didn't go in, but I thought it was still an awesome overall game for Tatum.
I didn't notice the threes in the sense that it was like stop everything so Tatum can shoot a 3, which is good. I think it is equally as important for him to finish his shots at the rim because there have been stretches before where it feels like Tatum is doing a lot and he's doing the right things and they're just not finishing the possession off, and it really hurts them sometimes. He has gotten better and better at finishing at the rim, like throughout his career. It's just kind of how it goes. Uh, the Celtics are at their best if he's able to do everything and get inside. And he had a great finish today. I think it was past Peyton Watson, where Watson did a great job following him to the right block, and Tatum had to go gadget arm, like not towards the basket, but out and around and swoop in to kiss it off the glass. It was a tremendous finish. Um,
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to be like take less threes. I don't like seeing him take 9 threes when he's 1 of 9. But like I said, it wasn't the kind of thing where I was sitting there noticing him take all the threes. Thought he made some great passes in this game too. So overall, like you said, really great Tatum game. They needed it, clearly. They would not have gotten over the hump without him and Kristaps today.
Yeah, there were a couple that were like, all right, buddy, what are you doing? But for the most part, they were within the flow of the offense, and they just didn't go. I even think he passed up a couple he could have taken, which is weird considering he took 9, but I think he averages right around 9 or maybe even a little more. So I think he did a good job of reading the room and doing what the offense needed. So Tatum was good. Weird Jaylen game. He wasn't
Really
very
weird.
good in the first half. He passed really well. He had 5 assists in the first half, so he was a good offensive hub, but he went scoreless for the second straight half. He didn't score a point in the second half against OKC, and then he didn't score in the first half of this game. But then the second half, third quarter comes along. He goes, you know what? F y'all. I'm gonna get to the rim. I'm gonna run through you. Whoever you put in front of me has no chance. And was really good in the second half. So been a weird little stretch for Jaylen going back to that Thunder game, but hey, he turned it around in the second half. So it was really a tale of 2 halves for him.
It's funny on the pregame. I was like, Jack, what do you think? Jaylen can only play 1 half a game. Another game of it. Another instance of Jaylen only being able to play 1 half. I think the shoulder's bothering him. I think that's a real thing that obviously we keep seeing the pictures of him with ice on it and the videos of him having to ice it. With that being said, you mentioned it. He's at his best when he's going through guys. When he's just bodying them, using his strength, doing what we saw him do at the back end of the season last year. That's the best version of Jaylen. It helped them get through the third quarter. It was good to see him come out aggressive out of the half. And I want to see more of that. But I don't think you're going to be able to see him do that for a full game if he's dealing with this shoulder injury. I just think it throws it off. And if he does do it, then he's not going to be as effective finishing at the rim. He wasn't as efficient tonight. He still shot less than 50% from the field while only taking 1 3. It's kind of not really what he's done historically, at least last year. This year, he's been inefficient. So keep an eye on the shoulder. I know Drew had the shoulder thing too. He had a strong finish to this game. He made a garbage time 3, so that 3 of 7 is looking a little bit more sharp than a 2 of 6 from 3. He had 19 in this game. Sorry, excuse me. And I thought he made a big difference in the second half, despite kind of being shaky. I want to tie it all together with these injuries. The Celtics are not dealing with injuries in a way where guys are missing a large chunk of games. They don't have like a Zion or an Embiid where it's just like, is this guy ever gonna fucking play?
Zion's back though.
Yeah, thank God he's back.
Super cool dunk.
Super cool dunk. Did they
He was
win?
really good too.
No, they were
I don't know.
close though.
They're still bad, yeah, but
They are still bad and they are still injured besides him. But the Celtics, I believe it's time now that we're seeing them feel a little bit of the effects of, hey, we've played really deep every year. Every year we're playing until May, June. And I don't know if it's going to be something that keeps popping up when the playoffs come around, but like a guy like Drew that played with Team USA after running through the finals, is dealing with the shoulder thing. Jaylen, who's played deep into the playoffs year after year, is now dealing with the shoulder thing. We've seen Kristaps on and off. I don't really think he falls into that category. Sam Hauser's another guy, like just the small nagging injuries that they can play through, but it definitely affects their play. It's just something to keep an eye on with this group.
Yeah, you can definitely feel them. I don't want to say aching, but going through a little bit. Like they're nicked up. But Drew was really good in this game for sure. The threes weren't necessarily falling at the best clip, but he did a little bit of everything else. He's been on an assist kick lately. He's been dishing out a lot of assists. I think he had 7 in this game, and he had a lot in on this Western Conference trip as well. So 2 steals, 1 block as well for him. Al Horford was good, made 5 threes, good presence down low, 7 rebounds, 4 steals for Al. I thought he was pretty good quietly. Pritchard still ice cold from 3. He's going through a real slump. He had 4 assists, so he did a decent job of doing the other things, but he's been cold. But Sam Hauser's not. 3 of 5 from 3, finding it again. Wish you had that in the Thunder game, but was still good. Even had a nice block that they had to challenge to get him credit for.
And that was a great block. Him and Al, good to see them making threes again. Welcome back, fellas. They really missed you. Even though Hauser's, I think like he's been pretty decent except for the OKC game. From memory, I think he's been finding his footing. I know we've talked about him. That's going to be important going forward. I think when he was struggling, they really, really missed that off the bench, just being able to be like, all right, Sam, come in while Jaylen or Jayson gets a rest, defend, and be ready to catch and shoot. He's just such a weapon when he's able to do all that, and it benefits the Celtics so much. When they didn't have it, it was jarring.
Yeah. All shooters go through slumps. It is what it is. I feel like we were a little spoiled last year that he was as consistent as he was, and he'll be fine. He knows how to shoot the basketball. That's not going anywhere. It's just a matter of finding it when he loses it. Luke Cornett was good. Nice big presence down low. 2 blocks in this one, 4 rebounds. Also, Kristaps completely stuffed. Who was it? Strother or DeAndre Jordan? Yeah, DeAndre Jordan. And then Luke stopped a poster dunk too. Neemias Queta was 4 or 5 in 7 minutes, 8 points. Still can't defend the perimeter. Still just can't do it.
Nemi is such a funny like box score look because you're like, wow, 4 or 5, like pretty good, 8 points, -10. What?
You can't box score. Yeah, Nemi is a no box score player. You can't look at the box score to get his true game. And I'm not gonna sit here and say he was awful because he wasn't. But the Celtics could not play defense with him on the floor. So just
he's just such a polarizing guy now. Like on Twitter when he was in the game, everyone was like, "Get this guy out! Why is Nemi in?" And then like
Yeah.
you'd look up from Twitter and he makes another hook shot when they were
I
reeling.
know.
By the way,
Just they could he can't
he's
get stops, man.
imperfect. Absolutely,
He
like he's certainly flawed, but he did actually like have a stretch where he kind of kept them afloat while also sinking the ship.
yeah. It's like have you seen the have you ever played what's it called? Sea of Thieves?
No, I
So
haven't.
are you familiar?
No.
So Sea of Thieves is like open mic game, so you and your buddies can jump in and like it's open world, so you can run into other people with open mics. But it's like pirates. You're pirates. You sail a ship and you do quests and stuff. It's actually really sick. But if your boat gets hit with a cannon, it starts filling up with water, and you have to take out your bucket and like scoop out the water and throw it over the edge. Nemi is like he's scooping out the water, but he's not actually patching the hole. So the water is still coming in, but he's trying to scoop it out. Like he's helping you not sink, but he's not actually, you know what I'm saying? It's like
Yeah.
passively not actually working. But yeah, Nemi is fine. Jayden Springer, 59 seconds, Sam. Hey,
Positive plus minus.
It's
Yes.
more than Tillman. It's more than Tillman played, so
I was
I'll give
surprised
you
he was in
that.
the first half, but then I was like, well, I guess
Yeah,
Derek's out and Jordan's out, so they can't really go to those guys. So Jaden is
and KP
next.
got smacked in the nuts.
Yeah, he got like literally
That
like
was
full force kicked. It was tough. It's funny, like he goes down, and even if it's that, you're like, what if like muscles got hurt or something like that? You're just like, I hope he's all right.
yeah, that was watching the replay though, it was like and that one looked like it hurt. That one was not a fun one to have to see.
Celtics
But
social media admin cooking. Bill
Bill
Simmons victory
Simmons, yeah.
post. 1-0
Yeah,
since
he's
Bill Simmons went on wrestling and said, "Look at the Celtics."
WWE. What else in this game? I don't know if there's anything else we needed to go over. The defense needs to be more consistent, man. I think the perimeter defense was not where it needed to be in this one. It just felt like they were spacing out too often. They were a step slow. Guys got downhill too often. Um, and it's just weird to see the Celtics not be good at 3-point shooting because that's kind of the world we're living in these last two. But I mean, they were hot against the Rockets, and I feel like we're all gonna skim over those Timberwolves and Rockets wins, both of which were good wins, by the way. Like for as much as the Timberwolves have struggled, they're a good team. For as much as the Rockets are maybe a new good team, they're awesome this year. Like those are two great wins, and even though Jokic is out, like they still got to win in this one. So they're 3-1 on this road trip. It's just everyone's gonna focus their attention to that Thunder loss, and it is what it is. Like I get it, but also, so I was looking on my like little analytics thing to see how articles are doing, and I saw that my predicting all 82 games of the Celtics regular season was like doing well. I was like, oh, that's weird. 27-10. I had them 27-10. I'm on. Like I'm right on for my record. And you know what, Sam? A lot of the games are correct. Like a lot of the losses are correct. So the first loss I predicted was to the Pacers, which wasn't true. They didn't lose to the Pacers their first time. Or they did. They did.
They
I was
did.
correct.
You
I
were
did.
right.
I got the loss to the Pacers. And then what was their next loss? I had them losing to the Hawks on November 4th, which I think
In the
that
cup.
they also lost that, right?
If it's the home game, then yes. If it's the away game, then no.
No, it's at Hawks, so no. I had them beating the Warriors, which was wrong. But then I had lost to the Bucks, which was wrong.
Swept
And then I
them.
had them beating the Hawks, so a couple off there. But then I had I had the win in the first Cavs game, but then I had the loss in the second Cavs game, and then I had a loss to the Pistons, but they didn't lose to the Pistons.
A lot of other teams lose to the Pistons, though.
Mhm.
Just so you guys
Had
know.
had the loss to Memphis, which was correct. Had the loss to Orlando. Had the loss in the second of the two Indiana games. And then I had a win against the Thunder, a loss to the Nuggets, but 27-10. I'm on pace, which is really weird.
Wouldn't have been such a kick in the dick if it was like, hey, they beat the Thunder and then Jokic isn't playing and they fucking lose today.
No.
Man, seriously though, like even like think about it when you woke up today. Like I'm sure I know you. Like you were probably like pretty excited for this because Jokic
Yeah.
is fun to watch, and like Celtics had a clean bill of health when you woke up. Then like
Mhm.
you start playing Hall of the Mountain King, Derek White, Jordan Walsh on the
Mhm.
injury report with illness, and I'm like, well, I think they're gonna play. Like they're still questionable. Then they're downgraded to out. Then out of nowhere, Chris Haynes breaks it. Jokic out. And I was like, man, what a waste of a game.
Yeah, it sucked. I was sitting in the living room and I saw it, and I like my entire mood was just like, damn it, man. like my entire mood went down
Threw the
for
phone
sure,
down.
which sucks. But yeah, hey, gotta win. Back in the win column after losing to the Thunder, which is a good thing. And now they'll head back home for a date with the Red Hot Kings, who have won 5 straight. So
Since firing Mike Brown.
5-1 since firing Mike Brown. But I'll let Sam wrap it up. We're done.
Yeah, thank you very much for listening and watching. Make sure you subscribe, leave a like, comment. Tell us what you thought of the win over the Jokic-less. You can also hit the bell. We're here every single day. New pods drop Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday, so there's one tomorrow. Game recaps like this one are up the morning after each game, and other videos are up on the channel in between to keep you up to date with all things Celtics. Make sure you find us on Spotify and Apple too, because all game recaps and pods will be there for you. So follow, they'll go right to your feed. leave a 5-star review. We'd appreciate that very much because it does help us reach more people. So if you like us, help other people like us. You can email us, hbtcpod@gmail.com. We'll be reading those later today as you hear this. So get them in. You have something to say about the road trip, some about the Mickey Mouse win against the Nuggets, whatever you want to call it. Socials are at How About Them C's for Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Facebook's the name of the podcast. All streams are there. They're on YouTube. They're on Twitter. Jack's Twitter's at JacksMonoNBA. Mine's at Sam LaFrance NBA. That's it for us.